It's time to start your life the way it is meant to be. There's only one time when it will be too late, and you don't want to wait for that. This is Now or Never. The choice is yours. Your host is Karen Wright. Today, you're about to meet some amazing people. The stories are not always happy ones, but they define a healing process. Listen with an open mind and an open heart. Now, here is Karen Wright.
Listeners, welcome to my show, and I appreciate you taking the time and being with us here today, now, at this moment. We're so lucky to have this beautiful guest with us today, and to celebrate, it's his birthday, Clay. I'm so excited.
Thank you.
Yes, and he said every day is a birthday in his life. And before we started, and I thought, yes, it is. Every day is a celebration of life.
Yep.
And that is what this whole show is about, is celebrating each of us, our lives and our journeys. Today's title is Break Free to Explore Your Unique Self. Do you want to break free from the limiting words that have been spoken over to you, or perceptions you accept that hold you back from fully expressing yourself? You can find freedom and embrace growth. Join us for this powerful conversation between myself and the intuitive channel, Clay Rosenthal, an artist and performer himself. Clay has a passion for helping others explore and develop their unique personal expression with true power. He will help find you and help find yours. So I am so grateful, Clay. We're in for a treat having you here with us today. This is going to be awesome.
It is.
Yes. Listeners, as we begin, you know how I like to get grounded. So I invite my guest, Clay, and all my listeners to close your eyes, plant your feet on the ground, and cross your legs and cross your hands. And just take a deep breath in through your nose and release through your mouth. Take another deep breath in and release. I invite you to bring your hands up around your shoulders. Taking another deep breath in and just keeping the breath deep, pushing that air all the way down to your lower abdominals, and repeating 3 times, I am worthy of my love. Repeat that 3 times, either out loud or to yourself. I am worthy of my love. I am worthy of my love. I am worthy of my love. Take another deep breath in and releasing. And then tapping 3 times on your chest, repeating the word accept. Accept, accept, accept. Another deep breath in, allowing that air all the way down, filling your entire body, your limbs, all the way through your fingertips, down through your toes. And release. And just one more for good measure. Deep breath in. And release. So as we begin, I always love just taking that moment just to being in the present. The breath is the quickest way I know how to be in the present. And it's such a good little tool that we all have at our fingertips every moment of the day. Listeners, as we begin, I would love you to get out your pens and write down the affirmations for today. You know me, my affirmations. They're all over my sticky notes, they're on my mirror, they're all over the place, on my closet. And today when I was shuffling, I had 2 cards that popped up. And so I thought for myself, at first I put one down And then I thought, nope, 2 came out for a reason. And so we have 2 for this week, you guys, and I'm really excited. And Clay, I invite you, I will do one at a time. I invite you to share with the listeners what comes to your forefront when I read you the affirmation, okay?
Great.
Okay, so here we go. The first one is, I am worthy. I am worthy.
Big capital letters. Yes. Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point.
It's true, huh?
It is true. It is so true. It is so true.
Yeah.
In fact, I think we are worth, we are value. Of course we're worthy, because we are everything for ourselves. We're everything that we begin with and end with, and everything in between is just what we get to receive along the way. So yes, we are definitely worthy.
I love that, listeners. I am worthy with a yes, bold yes, underline it. Yes, you are worthy. No matter what life throws you, you are worthy to live the life you create. And that's part of the show, is creating and recreating and figuring things out as we go through our journey. So I love that. The yes, I am worthy. Yes, we are. Gosh darn it. Love it. Okay. Here's our next one. It says, I am grateful to be alive. I am grateful to be alive.
You want my thoughts on that one? I think that, well, again, it's so important to, I think, a basis of just appreciation, gratitude, whatever you want to call it, is such an easy way to tap into the power that we are. There's so much to appreciate, and at the same time, there's so much diversity. There's a lot to focus on, and we're always making the choice, what do we focus on? And so I think, again, kind of beginning and ending with what we appreciate, and just to appreciate being, because there's so much opportunity in being. All of the opportunities we have because we're alive. And I don't think that ever ends. I don't think we're ever not alive. Even when we're not in bodies, we're not unalive. We are life. So in the same way that we are worthy, and I say we are worth, we are alive, and we are life. So
I appreciate that. I had in the last week, I had 2 of my friends. One was on the show, Mark Parker, and my other girlfriend, Jamie Foote. They both passed away within like days of each other. And, you know, knowing what I know, and my truth is, Clay, that I feel we are alive. We continue to progress. Our soul continues to progress. We just leave this body and we move on. But even that, knowing that, the emotions still hit. I still cried. I still felt. And they were tears of gratitude, because both these people came into my life probably 4 years ago and impacted me in a beautiful way. And I'm grateful because of the person at the time I was with dating. He introduced me to those 2 people through circumstances, right? Through events or whatever that happened. And I'm no longer with that person anymore. And I was thinking the other day when I was hiking, I'm like, I have gratitude for being in that person's life for that moment of time. It was a couple of years, but I realized it was for a reason. And it's always for a reason. But I got brownie points, or brownies, because I had Jamie Foote was my girlfriend, and Mark Parker. And I met them because of this person in my life. And so, you know, we go through ups and downs, I think, roller coasters, right? Where we have people in our lives for a minute and then they leave, you know, they move on to, you know, a new girlfriend or a new boyfriend or things like that. And you're heartbroken.
Right.
And then you just have to sit back for a moment and look at the bigger picture. And this is what, like 3 years down the road, and I'm looking at this bigger picture, realizing, wow, thank you. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, one thing leads to another. Nothing is isolated apart from anything else. I believe everything is connected. So yeah, and when we trace it back as human beings, we have this ability to, for myself, go really far back in our memories, in hindsight, and realize, wow, this happened. And then it's that domino effect. It led to this, which led to this, which led to this. If you take any component of that out, then, well, you can't know what would be. And so everything we have can be attributed to everything that has been before in some way. So there isn't any useless component of life. It just comes back to, what's my choice now? How do I feel now? And what do I feel ready for? I think is important,
Yeah. Oh, I do too. Listeners, I wanted to read a little bit about Clay. Just from, I'm sure, just listening to him already, you can feel his empowerment and his just his soul, just is so powerful and great. Clay is a California-based artist, teacher, and intuitive channel. And a native of the San Francisco Bay Area, Clay has a background in performing arts and as a singer-songwriter, composer, playwright, director, and instructor. For many years, he has worked with individuals and groups as an intuitive channel, writing and speaking to empower and inspire others through Gabriel. He is passionate about encouraging others to acknowledge, explore, and develop their unique personal expression and true power. So I love reading the bios of my guests, and each of you are so unique and authentic. And it's always a tribute for me, like a treat every Wednesday. I'm like, oh, this is where I get the cherry on the top when I get my listeners and my guests here on the show. Is absolutely wonderful. Clay, yes. Introduced to me. I want you to explain to our listeners a little bit about Gabriel, because he's part of your bio, he's part of you, and we're going to introduce Gabriel probably after our first break. But maybe just touch a little bit about who Gabriel is and how all of it became. When you say channel, like people think channel, tuning channel, things like that. But you channel in and you're connected to Gabriel. Is that correct?
That is correct. And it's not unlike tuning a channel. Nowadays we're streaming everything. So it's not like we're getting up close to the TV and turning a big dial anymore. That dates us slightly to think in those terms. But Gabriel is, as I understand them, I speak of Gabriel not as a singular him, but as a focus of consciousness, a focus of intelligence, a non-physical focus. So it sort of stretches the mind to think that, a focusing can be non-physical, because I believe that we in our physical bodies are a physical focusing of energy. So what Gabriel is just a much broader, more fluid, more aware focus than what we consider ourselves to be as physical human beings. And I can feel the spectrum of Gabriel as they flow through me. I was introduced to, the concept of channeling pretty, in my early adulthood in the 90s, and was very intrigued by it. It felt very comforting to me, the idea that people could sort of quiet their minds and their bodies and be in a flow of receiving, and the practice of doing it, I think, has just increased the clarity of doing it. It's very hard. The more I talk about it, the less sense it starts to make, because I'm trying to pin it down into terms that are physical and digestible for people. And it's so much just an experience. Gabriel, to me, first of all, when I received the energy through writing for many years before I began to speak Gabriel. And once the speaking began, I asked for a name, and the name that I was given was Gabriel. So a lot of people who channel, they experience that they're channeling an entity or a dead person or that. And for me, it's broader than that. And but it's got a name, and so it's logical that people think of Gabriel as a him. Plus, it's flowing through me, which is a him. So, but to me, there's sort of everything, everywhere, focused with intention toward what people are asking for. So I believe that Gabriel comes because there are human beings who are asking for clarity and relief and an awareness of the connection that they have to the source of what we are. And that seems to be what they deliver. And with a lot of humor is one of my favorite things about Gabriel. They're funny. And I think that's one of my favorite things about the way they flow through.
I think it's interesting because I've had a couple of other energy people on my show before. And energy people to me this is how I explain it to people, because I've gone through and became Reiki master, things like that. So all of us have gifts that we're born with or given. And like anything else, you have to learn to, first of all, open your mind, open your heart, and ask, what is my gift? What am I capable of giving? And some people are visionaries, some people dream. Why other people can feel. You walk into a room and you can feel the aura around people, the energy around people. Other people can see auras, the colors around people. We all have those gifts. And you have honed in with yours. And I love the fact that you said you started the connection process when you started to write. And was the writing more like a journaling type thing, asking questions, or was it just a way of expressing?
It would come in response to meditating.
Okay.
I would sit and meditate. It used to take about 30 minutes. And I say meditating, it took me about 30 minutes just to get into a state of meditating. And then finally, it would sort of click into place. And I would have my notebook beside me and my pen. And it was kind of an automatic writing process. And then I would read it back. I would feel when it felt complete for the moment. And I'd read it back and my mind was blown. I was like, where did this come from? It didn't feel like my perspective. It felt like something much greater than my perspective.
I appreciate you sharing the fact that you did the writing through meditation. And meditation to me is something I've learned the last 7 years, and it's something you have to work at. You just can't sit down and meditate. You have to learn to quiet the mind. But people can do it. Anyone can do it. And people are, oh, we can't. We're going to get ready to go into a break. But when we come back, listeners, we're going to talk a little bit more about just the meditation part and the importance of the meditation. And we're going to be introduced, if Clay will allow us. I would love Clay to allow Gabriel to come forth and to speak with us about some things, if you're good with that, Clay.
Yes, please.
Hey.
Yes.
That's awesome. Okay, we will be right back, listeners, after this commercial.
All right, great job. We're all clear. Back in about 2.
Yay! Thank you. Can you hear the puppy whining behind me?
A little bit.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go move him. So don't go anywhere. People, I'll be right back on Facebook. I just need to move my grand pup. He's whining.
Aw.
Be right back. Just a second. Okay, sorry. He's really good, but I bring out the worst in him. My daughter Marie is always like, Mom, what do you do to him? Because he's so obedient when he's at home with me. But when he's around you, he's like this crazy dog. I'm like, I don't know. I just let him be. Like, I just let him love me.
Exactly. It's his chance to be his best self when you come around.
Yeah, I'm like, well, that's what you get to be when you're a grandma. You can spoil the kids and send them back. So whether it's grandpa,
make a big mess that you don't have to clean up. So
it's great. I think it's great. And so it's funny because I text her, she's in the other room, like, come get him. And she didn't respond. So that's why I had to go do it myself. It's like, take your dog. But he's stinking cute. He's a little mini Aussie.
Oh,
so cute.
Okay, coming back here in about 15 seconds.
Okay, thanks.
VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
You are listening to Now or Never. The choice is yours. To connect with the program today, please call us at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. If you'd rather send an email, the address is Karen@shinenowornever.com. Let's get back to this week's show. Here again is Karen Wright.
Listeners, welcome back. And we are listening and speaking with Clay Rosenthal from California, Oakland, California. And before break, we were introduced to his energy, Gabriel. I hope that's a good way to.
That's perfect.
The energy, Gabriel. Okay. And how he found this energy with him. And it was through meditation. And we spoke just a minute about meditation before we went into break. But I have my knowledge of meditation. Clay, I would love you to share with the listeners, what inspired you to start meditating?
Well, I think that, first of all, Gabriel has said many, many times that meditation is not rigid. There's not one way to meditate. There's not one practice. And I think people try to approach it as a discipline. And that really just sort of like squelches the life out of it for so many people. It seems like a chore, something you have to achieve in order to get what you want. And they've said so many times that meditation, being in a state of meditation, is just being in a state of allowing and receiving, and anything really that we decide puts us in a state of, I mean, even bliss is a big word and something big to reach for. So I think just relief, walking and listening to music. You can be in conversation with friends. I think basically anytime you're not worrying or fretting about life, you're kind of meditating. You're receiving the benefits that meditation provides. It's not this one thing that you have to do in one way where you just sit silently and sort of om your way into meditation. That's a way to do it, but there are so many ways to do it. And I like the idea of it being accessible to people in all kinds of ways based upon their preferences and what they enjoy. So just driving gets me into a state of meditation. Not the same meditation when I'm closing my eyes because I'm driving, but it's, that's dangerous. And I'm not recommending that, listeners. Don't close your eyes when you're driving. But it's just become increasingly broad for me in terms of what I consider to be meditation. In the beginning, I made sort of a regimented practice out of doing it. It was about sitting quietly, feeling thoughts come in and just releasing the thoughts. And but to what end? To the end of having no thoughts whatsoever? No, it was about bringing in thoughts that felt inspiring or illuminating or empowering. And it's sort of like filling your tank in a way, you know, it kind of gets us ready for what comes next and regenerates us. And that can come in so many forms.
Yeah, that's really empowering to regenerate. And I noticed when I first started meditation, like I would sit for 5 minutes. I set my timer for 5 minutes and I would just have my mantra, I am light, I am love, whatever it is, right? And that would be for 5 minutes. And then gradually the time got longer. But I found it was interesting. When you're doing it, things just happen, like life continues to go or whatever. It's not until you stop that all of a sudden you're thinking, what am I missing? I mean, this has happened to me where I might miss a couple of days, you know, or a week or something happens. I'm like, what's going on? Like I'm not grounded. I'm very airy. I'm like, what is going on? And it's like meditation just helps me just, you know, just be for a moment. And I tell people when you get in the zone, and I've expressed it the same way. So when you're dancing out on the dance floor and you're in the music, you just feel it and you don't see anyone else around you. Or like when I'm water skiing and I'm behind the rope and I'm just holding on and just skiing and just I'm one with the water, one with my ski behind the boat. You're in the zone.
Right.
And there's no other thoughts going on.
Yeah. And you see it with,
yes.
in the arts, you see it with athletes, musicians, you know, you can tell when someone is in the flow and in the zone. And I think that's when the concept of channeling first really resonated with me as something I was doing was as a songwriter early on, because I was so aware of connecting with a perspective that was greater than myself. I started writing songs because I had problems in my life that I wanted to find a way to work through that uplifted me, you know, finding clarity. I always went into the process of writing a song sad, angry, frustrated, whatever. And the goal was by the end of the song, I felt clearer and stronger and better, and all of, you know, whatever I was seeking was there sort of at the end of that process. And then the next day something comes up and you have to write another song if you're like me. And so
I love that.
So it's about connecting to the source of what we are, and not just the details of what we've created in our life. Gabriel's used the expression over and over increasingly of tuning to source, as opposed to tuning to the details of the physical world. You tune to source and then you participate in the physical world. You tune to source and then you have your conversations. Then you write your book, then you write your song, then you, whatever you do. I mean, it can just be, you know, not a high stakes endeavor, or it could be something big, but it's that idea of, again, filling your tank, plugging your cord in to the outlet so that you can receive the flow that is there, that current of energy that emboldens you to really shine in whatever you're doing, whether it's a life achievement moment or just having a nice dinner. I mean, everything has the potential to nourish us in some way. It's not just the big stuff. And so I don't think anything is exempt from receiving benefit through connecting in that way.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you made the comment that through songwriting, you found your voice. And yeah. I think that's really important. Something in life that not a lot of people know how to do is use their voice, not in an angry, right? But through your emotions, like you said, you can be frustrated, but finding your voice, be able to express feelings, emotions, and then taking that other 180 turn and finding, okay, but now I feel better and we've worked through stuff. And that's truly important. And you've done it through songwriting. I've done it through my book. I mean, I even took voice lessons for 3 years just to use my voice.
Yeah.
Just the vocal cords are something, it's muscle. And when you don't use it, you know, you lose it.
Right, exactly. And singing that early on, that's really the only legitimate formal training I've really had in anything was classical voice, which I started as a very young person. And that's all about connection and breath work and opening and expanding and focusing. I would encourage anybody who doesn't feel settled within their own bodies to find a good voice